Hi. Well, another day. Today, since the weather has remained kind of cold, of course, probably by the time you get this, it'll be too hot. But I thought today we would make up a cream of mushroom soup. Now, the mushroom soup, the method that I use for this, if you were to take asparagus or broccoli or whatever and substitute for the mushrooms, it would work just fine. And then if you wanted a puree soup, in other words, without some little pieces in it, you could put it in a blender and just blend it smooth. So here I'm going to just take a pot, and in it I have some butter, and I'm going to start to heat that up. And meanwhile, I'll just slice up the mushrooms. Now, whenever I slice up mushrooms, I usually cut it so we have whole pieces. And then when I get to half, I lay it down. And then I just chop right on through. And for this, the amount of mushrooms, I'm using 6 ounces of mushrooms, and I don't think I will need them all for this. So I'll just take the pan and place the mushrooms in there. And you can hear them sizzling. And so we want to saute these for just a little bit, because the other ingredients that I'm going to use about a tablespoon of flour. I can use cream or milk, either one, and I'm going to be using some chicken stock. And the amount that you put in depends on how thick you want the soup. And so here, while these are sauteing, with this, if you remember when we made up a bechamel sauce, we created a roux. And if you don't remember that, just look it up on Facebook when we did that particular thing. And because we're going to use the flour in the same way. And so once the mushrooms get sauteed enough, we're just going to add our flour and stir that in, and that will thicken up and become like a paste. And then we will add some chicken stock to it. And the chicken stock is going to give it great flavor. If you're a vegetarian, then just use vegetable stock if you don't want to use the chicken. And so here we've sauteed the mushrooms. And then I'm just going to take some flour and put in just a little bit, about a tablespoonful. And then we stir that around, and so the shortening and some of the juice from the mushrooms is going to all solidify. It's going to coat all of the mushrooms. And then we just let it set for a little bit, just like in making the bechamel. And I have room temperature chicken stock. And I'll just pour a little bit in there and let it heat up. And then we can start to stir it. And as we stir it, we're going to get kind of a paste in the bottom. There we go, and it's thickened up beautifully. I'll turn this just in case. You can see that. We have a mirror up above here so you can look in that. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more. Now this will have to wait just a teeny bit for it to heat up because the first one will heat up right away. The second time we add it, it's going to take just a little bit longer. Now as far as chicken stock goes, you could make your own, and I'll be showing how to do that in a future class. Or what I'm using is Knorr chicken stock with this soup. And so you can see here, see it's just dripping off, so it's a little bit thicker. I'll add just a teeny bit more. And then, you know, if you have cream like this, I have a little bit left. So I'm going to use that. Cream will give you a lot better soup, the feel in your mouth and everything when you do it. You can do it with milk. And so we'll add just a little bit of milk in there. And then we want this just to cook for a little bit. Now we want this to simmer, so we want to turn it down a little bit. And being that the milk was cold, it will take just a little bit longer to heat up. Now with this, if you're baking some bread at home, you know, have a nice piece of bread and a nice bowl of soup on a cold evening would be just perfect. Now, we can add salt and pepper to this. You have to remember to taste. And so like here we have just some spoons, and I'll just dip this. Now I dip this in. What I'm looking for is how it coats the spoon. That tells me how thick it is. And then how it tastes. That's good. Now you may want a little bit of pepper in it, so then just take a pinch of pepper and put in. Now, what happens, what if your soup winds up in the end too thin? Then just take some cornstarch and some cold milk. Just a little bit of milk and about a teaspoon of cornstarch. Mix it together and pour it in. And then let this come up to just a light boil, and it will start to thicken again. Flour will wind up breaking, and the breaking part means that it thickens, and then when it gets too hot, it just becomes like water. So rather than starting over, the best thing is to just have some cornstarch and put that in and thicken it back up. Now this is just starting to bubble, and this is right about where I want it. So I'm going to shut that off. And then we can just take our bowl, and here I'm just going to pour this right in. And so there we have cream of mushroom soup, and it took 5 minutes. So, I drink to your health when I'm with you. I drink to your health when I'm alone. I drink to your health so damn much, I'm ruining my own. Skål.